Hello, it is the 30th of January, 2026, and I just completed reading Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad. And this version of the book has three stories in it. It's got Youth, a narrative, which is like 20 something pages long. Then it's got Heart of Darkness, and then it's got End of the Tether. So I read the first two. My main purpose was reading Heart of Darkness. End of the Tether, I did not read because apparently it glorifies suicide, and I don't want to read a story like that. So I've achieved my goal by reading Heart of Darkness, which is a Wordsworth classic book, and it's a companion piece to King Leopold's Ghost, which was written much later. That was written in the 80s, and I did that review, I think yesterday or the day before. That book is over 300 pages and quite informative. It's documentary style, and it gives you a lot of depth because it's obviously many years after the events of the rubber terror in Congo occurred. This book, while in the same region, is a little different because it is narrative style, and the author clearly rode in one of these boats that appears to look like a Jungle Cruise kind of boat, which I also just watched The African Queen, which the Jungle Cruise at Disneyland is based on the African Queen movie. So a lot of those scenes are similar to riding in that, just as a side little tidbit. But yeah, he was apparently in Africa, and he kind of documented his experience. And this must have predated the rubber terror because the main focus of product they're talking about in this is ivory. So the killing of elephants for the ivory tusks. And it doesn't go into as much depth as King Leopold's Ghost because it's during the time frame of the actual occurrences. And being it's at the beginning of the colonization and taking of resources of the Africans, it's kind of an eye-opening experience for him, and he's discussing as he's riding in the boat the experience he's going through. Now, this particular story is like less than 100 pages. I think it's like 74 pages, and you can get through it easily in one day or two, probably max, if you sit and focus on it. And there are a couple of hair-raising events in here, but not to the extent of King Leopold's Ghost book. That book goes into atrocity after atrocity after atrocity. So if you want to learn what happened in that region, you should read King Leopold's Ghost. If you want to be a first person kind of ride along in one of these boats and experience without knowing anything about it, this would be the one. But again, you're not going to get a full understanding of what was happening because even he didn't understand what was happening. Not nearly as traumatic as King Leopold's Ghost, not even close. Not as in depth, but for the time, important piece of literature. So this is a Wordsworth classic, and it's also a Penguin classic. I'm near positive. It's been on my list for quite a while, and the reason I read it is because King Leopold's Ghost mentions this book several times. So they're kind of companion pieces to each other. And my daughter told me about King Leopold's Ghost, which she read in high school in an AP history class. So I followed up and read that. And then in return, now I'm showing her about Heart of Darkness and giving both books back to her. So it's kind of cool when you have a information loop between parents and children, and you can learn from each other. I really enjoy that.